Hello and welcome to this Android development tutorial. This is part 4 of how to make a gallery app for Android. In this tutorial, we will be adding more functionality to our app. If I run the app right now to see the current state of it, we can see that we have a list view that shows the images it finds in various locations like download, pictures directory, and DSIM directory. And if we long click on an image, then we are able to see some options like rename, delete, share, and info. So right now we will implement some of those features in code. To do that, we go to our Android Studio IDE and open our main activity.java file. As you can see, we have some stuff already defined right here. What we want to do is go to the onResume method right here where we initialize our app, and after this initialization code we have written in previous tutorials, we will access the buttons we created in XML. For that, for example, we will start accessing the delete button. For that, we go and say final button delete. Oops, so remember to import the library. Final button delete button, and we will set this to find view by id r.id.delete button. Okay, now we're gonna set the click listener to this button. For that, we go and say delete buttons dot set on click listener new on click listener. As you can see, the IDE auto generates some code for us. Inside here, we will ask the user with a dialog if do you really want to delete or not the image. Okay, for that we go and say final alert dialog that builder, and we will call this delete dialog. We will set this to new alert dialog that builder, and we will pass main activity that this as our parameter. Okay, now we're gonna set the title of the dialog. For that, we go and say delete the dialog that set title, and the title of the dialog will be delete. Okay, great. Now we're gonna set the message. For that, we go and say delete dialog that set message, and we will say, do you really want to delete it? So we will ask confirmation to the user right here, and we have to set the buttons of the dialog, either both positive and negative buttons. For that, we're going to say delete dialog. So let me scroll these a little bit down for you to see it better. So delete dialog and set positive button, and the positive button will say yes. Okay, and we create new dialog interface that on click listener, and when yes button is pressed, we will delete the file. Okay, so right now we will go and delete the file. For that, we have to know which file we want to delete. Okay, so we have to kind of have a flag for the files, right, to know which file is selected. So when we long click on these right here, we are not saving the position of the file, so we have to save the position of the file. For that, we will create a global variable right here in which we will say private boolean selected file index. Okay, and when we long click on a list view item, we have to set that flag, set that, I don't know, integer, you know? So selected file index will be set to position. Okay? So what's going on here? Oh, selected file index. Oh, sorry, it's not a boolean, of course, this is an integer. So that's my error. The global variable is a private int. Okay, so change that please. Because it's an index, of course it's an integer. So we set that to position, as you can see in this line I'm highlighting right here. And we have done that, and when we have done that, we will go to our previously unclicked method inside the delete dialog code. And right here we're gonna say files or file list at selected file index that, oh, let me see if we have, so this is just the path, so we have to create a new file. So our new file will be new file, and inside these we can say file list get and selected file index and delete. So now we are deleting the image we just selected. So we have to update the changes, you know, so we need to update the changes. We can either remove, like removing this from the list and sending that new list to the adapter, as we did when we send it. So let's see. Okay, we will set the data with the new file list. Let's see if this works. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is file list that remove, and we will remove the object at selected file index, and we're gonna say our adapter, which is called gallery adapter, that set data files list. And when we do that, we will hopefully see the change we want. And okay, let's run the app to see if everything works as we want. So right now I'm compiling the app, as you can see, and I'm waiting for it to be compiled. Okay, and now it's running, installing, and now go to the emulator. I will long click on the first image, I will click on delete, and as always I forget to show the dialog. So we still haven't shown the dialog here, you know, so we have to show it. So I am forgetting to do that. Okay, so inside the delete button on click listener, we show these, and we show this alert dialog, and we set the positive button right here. But now we have to set the negative button. Okay, for that we're gonna go and say delete dialog that set negative button, and of course negative button will say no, comma, new dialog interface on click listener. And when we do this, we're gonna say dialog.cancel. And now we can actually, so remember to end this with a semicolon, and now we can actually show the dialog. So we're gonna say delete dialog that show. Okay, so now the dialog will actually be shown. So running this again, and let's check if it works. Okay, I long click on this, and I click on delete, the dialog is shown, as you can see, as title delete and as message, do you really want to delete it? And if we go no, then nothing happens. But if we go again and press yes, then it should be in theory deleted, but it's not updated to the screen. Okay, so we have to do something different here because the changes are not being updated to the screen. We have to find a way that in which we can update the changes to the screen. Okay, so let's try to do it. Okay. Now we have to maybe list all the files again. Will that fix the problem as we did it previously? Kind of init stuff, you know? Init files and list files and all of that. Maybe actually. But when we call the method that says add images from right here, we are just kind of adding new images, but we have to kind of clear them if we want to, if we don't want to add them again, right? So now in the adapter class, we can change that we are clearing the data if the data size is greater than 0, if which is not that accurate. I think we will okay. We will check this, and here we will go this way, and hopefully let's see if this works by deleting that code, that check, because that's not really a good code. So let's see, and here nothing happens, so we have to understand what's going on here. As you can see, it's checking if the data size is greater than 0, then we're clearing it, and if it's not greater than 0, then we do that. But we maybe don't have to use the this here. Maybe, oh, we are clearing the data. Okay, let me see. We're clearing the data, but we should not be doing this. We should be doing like that. Okay, let's now run it again to see if it works or not. So waiting for it to be compiled and to be run. And now here we have some images shown, which is what should actually happen. Okay, great, this is great. Okay, right now we will figure out how to solve the previous problem, which was when we long click an item like this and we press and delete. Do you really want to delete it? I say yes, and it's not deleted. Well, it is actually deleted, but the changes are not being seen on the screen. So we have to change that. And to do that, we have to update the adapter, kind of update the data. Okay. Let me see right here. Okay, so we go to our onResume method and our click inside the delete button, and we have to understand what we're doing right here. So we're creating a new file and deleting the file, then we're removing that file from the file list, and we set the data again into the files list. Okay, but that is not working as we want. So what we want to do is after we do this, we will get and print the index of the data in order for us to debug the app and be able to know what's going on. Okay, so right here we are removing the list, removing this item right here, and we are adding this new data right here. But maybe something is not working inside those two methods. Okay, So right now, when we set the data, then the new list should have the new data, right? And if we get the new element and print that to log, for example, files list that get right here, and here we're gonna say get the selected file index, and we will create a string, and this will be file name. Okay, and now we will print that file name to log in order for us to know what's going on with this. So we're going to say log.d. Inside here we're going to say testing delete button, and we will print the current file name. Okay, now we will run the application and see what's going on with this. We're debugging it and finding what's wrong with the app. Okay, so right now I will long click on the first image. As you can see, the name of the image is at the top, it's a photo and a lot of numbers. And I will click on delete, and I will click on yes. And now, as you can see, something updated here. So I will check this again, so I will long click this, I'll click on delete and yes, and now it's being updated actually. Okay, so that may be because we fixed this adapter thing previously. So if we go to our logcat right here, and we go and say change to debug, and we type testing, we can find that here we have the two items we pressed, and actually it is what we want because the first one was a lot of numbers, and this is showing the updated one, which is great. Okay, so now we have fixed that delete button problem, which is great, and now we will continue to add more features to our application. So we have added the delete feature, which for now is working great because that's kind of a must of a gallery app. Okay, so that's the delete feature. Now we're gonna go and add more features like a rename feature. Okay, so here we end with the delete feature, and we will go and add a rename feature because that's a really useful feature too. So we're gonna say final button rename button, and we will set this to find view by ID r.id that rename button. Okay, and below this we're gonna say rename button, so same as previously, set on click listener new on click listener, exactly the same. And now we will create a dialog. The dialog will be a bit different because here we want to actually ask for a new name for the file. So let's start, and we go and say final alert dialog that builder. Okay, and we will call this rename dialog, and I'll set this to I'll do it in a new line in order for you to visualize it better. Okay, so rename dialog right here, and I will set this to new alert dialog that builder, and I will pass main activity that this. Okay, great. Now we will set the title again, like rename dialog that set title, and we will set the title to rename to. Okay, great. And now we want to have it the ability to ask the user for the new title, you know, kind of, we don't want messy names in our pictures, right? So we want to ask the user for a simpler title maybe. For that we're gonna say final edit text input. So we are getting the input of new name, and we'll pass edit text main activity dot this. Okay, great. Then we have to get the current name and change it to what we want, right? So we're gonna create a string, final string, rename path, for example, and here we're gonna say files list get and selected file index, which is the same we used previously, so this works for lots of useful stuff, which is great. And now we have the rename path. And now we're going to say input that set text. So we will load this box with the current name. And the current name will be set to rename path. We don't want to set the whole path, so we have to create a substring. So substring rename path, okay, that last index of, and here we will do last index of / +1, so same as we did previously. Then we will set the input type of our text text box, okay, and we go and say input that set input type, and we will set this to input type that type class text, so we are getting text. Great. Now we're gonna go and say rename dialog that set view, and we'll pass input. So we are adding this input field to our rename dialog. Okay, now we can go and start adding the positive button. For that we're going to say rename button that rename dialog that set positive button. Okay, set positive button, we will set it to rename. Okay, great. And we will create, of course, don't forget to end with a semicolon, and new dialog interface on click listener, and these will be we will change the rename thing right here. So we're gonna go and say string s, for example, new file. So we're creating a new file right here, and these will be the path and the parent. So we get the parent of the path, because we are not moving, we're staying the same one. So we're gonna say rename path that get parent, and we will add / right here, and we will also add the new file name, which is input get text. So we're getting the text the user has typed on the text box. And now we go and say file new file, okay, file new file, and we create a new file here with the s parameter. So we're gonna say new file, and we will pass the s parameter, as I said, right here. Okay, and we're gonna rename this. For that we're gonna say new file rename path, and we're gonna say rename to our new file we just created in the previous line. Okay, and now when we've done this, we have to kind of get rid of this array element as we did previously, and to update it. So for that we're gonna say files list that remove selected file index, or yeah, I think remove is what we can do. So remove selected file index, and we're gonna say files list that add, and we will add the new one, which is S. Okay, and now we can say adapter, which is gallery adapter that set data files list. Okay, as you can see right now, it should work. So we will test this right now and see if it works. So I am running the app. I will try to see if, oh, again, I always forget this. I didn't show the dialog. I don't know why I always forget it. But okay, so we set the positive button right here, and we also have to set the negative button. So rename dialog that set the negative button, and inside here we're gonna say, when we don't want to rename, we will say cancel, and new dialog interface on click listener, and it'll set dialog that cancel right here. And when we cancel, we just cancel, you know. And after here we will show, oh, remember to end with semicolon, and here we will show the dialog. So rename dialog that show. Okay, so we now can actually run the app and check if everything is working as we want. So we go to the emulator, run the app. I will long click this. As you can see, there we have the options. This has a long name. If I click on rename, the dialog is shown, and as you can see, I can maybe select to delete all those numbers I have there. For example, I can go and check all the numbers I have and maybe start deleting the numbers and just saying photo test or something like that. And I will click on rename. Now the image disappears because we're adding it at the last thing. So as you can see right here is at the last position. We will fix that later, but now to check if everything works, I will long click on it, and as you can see, the name of the image is now photo test.jpg. So as you can see, we have achieved two goals. Here we have added the delete function and the rename function, and that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy it, and I see you in the next one. Bye.